So back in August of last year, Cristiano Ronaldo completed 20 years at the very top. And while in those 2 decades, the adroit, adept and admired Adonis, an advocate of this adage who's admittedly addicted to the additive of adrenaline's adulation for addressing, adjusting and adapting to adversity, has been adjacent to additionally being an adversary to the adhesive and adamant but adult masses, to say that all of the information on him out there is accurate would actually reek of inaccuracy itself. And here are a few cases in point, as these are 7 myths about CR7 that you still believe. Let's roll on. Number 7. The embodiment of anti-aging. To state the obvious, Ronaldo is a physically fit individual. His dedication to his body and attention to detail isn't just a part of his success on the pitch, but also his brand off it. But even then, believe it or not, Ronaldo was past his prime relatively early. Yes, really. So CR7's absolute peak was the 13-14 season, when pretty much all of the attributes that made him great merged in one and made him the ideal modern day attacker. But honestly, his decline began pretty much the season after, and by 30 years of age, he'd lost a lot of his pace, explosiveness, and by extension, his dribbling ability. Now please don't think I'm by any means blaming the guy. He has an irremediable condition in his knee that no amount of sit-ups or salad can cure. But my point is, throwing out titles like ageless or Mr. Longevity at him despite, 1, as I said, already losing one of his main attributes by 30, when Iron Robin at the same age was setting top speed records in the World f***ing Cup, while Kyle Walker at 32 is still keeping up with the actual real-life Ninja Turtle Kylian Mbappe. And 2, yes, don't think I've forgotten, moving to the Middle East at 37, when in comparison, Luka Modric was one of the stalwarts in the Champions League winning team at 36, James Milner topped over 40 games in the Premier League at 37, Paul Scholes came out of retirement and won another Premier League at 38, while Zlatan Ibrahimovic scored in double figures in Serie A and Paolo Maldini won the Champions League while in Serie A, both at 39. It really does put things into perspective. Number 6. Forever a defensive liability. This myth has actually garnered such a following that, forget the fans, even some of Ronaldo's former teammates seem to have begun believing in it. And lads, that's baffling cause you were there. So apparently, Ronaldo has never done any pressing and defensive work for any prolonged period of time in his career. Yeah, no. Here's the truth on this. So initially, Ronnie was brought by United as an almost like-for-like swap for David Beckham. And for those who don't know, Becks was notorious for his hard work off the ball. And yes, it is true that Ronaldo was indeed never interested in tracking back, but in that early 2000s United training ground, his interest didn't really matter, if you know what I mean. Ergo, while he may have refused to track back in training, go on YouTube or wherever and find a United game from 2003 to 2006 and even many from 2007 where Ronaldo is playing out wide, and you'll see he's helping his fullback as instructed, cause, to paraphrase one of his teammates from that time, that was his job. He was a wide midfielder. It was only in the 07-08 season he was given more freedom due to his impressive attacking output from wide midfield the previous campaign. And well, the rest, as they say, is history. Number 5. He doesn't drink alcohol. Not much to say on this one. It's just not true. Like, yes, he's cognizant of not going overboard due to the tragic circumstances surrounding his father's death, but he's not completely straight edge, and has, by a few of his teammates' admissions, drank alcohol on the rare occasion. Emphasis on rare. How rare? Well, here's him drunk following the final of Euro 2016 after practically taking a sip of champagne.
Es la imagen de la felicidad plena.
What a lightweight, fam. Did I use that term correctly? Sorry. I actually don't drink. Number 4, Ronaldo performed for Portugal because it was all about him. So during the barren years from 2007 to 2017, other than Ronaldo, the Portuguese national team had very few true world-class talent and therefore had to regularly rely on CR7 to drag them to and through tournaments. But here's the mistake people make. Portugal didn't just become all about catering to Ronaldo because there was no one else around to feed. They became all about catering to Ronaldo because he was simply the best, regardless of whoever stood opposite or alongside him. Let me explain. So in both Euro 2004 and World Cup 2006, Portugal actually fielded very strong teams with about 4 to 5 world-class players on each side. And yet, in both of those campaigns, Ronaldo stood above all, being both top scorer and assist getter of the team at the Euros, and putting up some stellar displays at the World Cup 2 years later, including that memorable semi-final clash against France in Munich where, on the same pitch as Figo, Henry and Zinedine freaking Zidane, he walked away with the man of the match. And in case you haven't caught on, both of those tournaments were well before it became, quote unquote, all about him. Number 3, the three-peat side were favored by referees. Okay, so this one has only really just recently picked up steam, and by recently I mean since the World Cup final, as it's usually just Messi FC using it as a defense when Ronaldo FC claimed that World Cup was rigged. And people ask me why I don't want children. Anyway, check this out. So these two gentlemen were both the exact same weight. However, one of them had that weight dispersed across a significantly longer frame, while the other has it stuffed into a relatively smaller frame, hence making it look a lot less natural and a lot more like he's received some illegal aid. And genuinely, practically the same principle applies here. Cause you see, Real's 3P era consisted of a few refereeing blunders that took place over a period of 3 years, whereas the refereeing blunders in Argentina's World Cup win took place over a period of 3 weeks, and therefore all that packed into a much shorter frame of time makes their World Cup triumph look a lot less natural, and yes, a lot more like they also received some illegal aid. Do you understand my point? Well, the answer should be no, cause I haven't made it yet. So basically my point is, the difference between the body weight comparison and this is that these two aren't even the same weight. In other words, despite having taken place in across 32 more games, the three-peat side still did not have as many dodgy decisions in their favor. Genuinely, across the 3-year stretch, the only game that was honestly marred with obviously bad decisions was the Bayern home game of 2017 with the 2 offside goals. But here's the thing, that game was marred with bad decisions against both sides, including, by the way, both of Bayern's goals too. And honestly, anything outside that game is either just splitting hairs, i.e. Ramos's goal in the 2016 final when VAR in the UCL wasn't a thing, or straight up, it's just stupidity, i.e. this apparently being debatable. No, that is a penalty. That's what a correct penalty call looks like. But worry not, kiddo. Wanna see what an incorrect penalty call looks like? Here you are. I rest my case. You basket case. Number 2, his goal scoring is what made him a GOAT candidate. Okay, so I'm going to try and not delve too much into this cause, well, I've already dedicated multiple entire videos on this in the past. But simply put, the myth, Ronaldo's goal scoring is what entered him into the GOAT debate. The truth, Ronaldo's goal scoring is what cemented him into the GOAT debate. Cause believe me, he was there way before goal scoring became his primary attribute. Like, not only was he the best dribbler in the world at a certain point, again, watch this video, please. But also, by 2008, he already was considered to be one of Manchester United's greatest ever players, was considered to be one of the Premier League's greatest ever players, made it to the Ballon d'Or rankings on 5 different occasions with 2 podium finishes to his name, made it to the FIFA World Player of the Year rankings also on 5 different occasions, also with 2 podium finishes to his name, made it to the UEFA Team of the Year on 3 different occasions, made it to 2 different international team of the tournaments as alluded to before, and on top of all that, Johan Cruyff himself said that Ronaldo was already better than Dennis Law and George Best, the latter who himself is regularly in that GOAT debate. And guess what? He'd accumulated all of those accolades at a time where 1. He only had one 30+ goal season under his belt, and 2. He only had a mere 11 Champions League goals under his belt. And number 1, he was carried in Euro 2016. Man, I genuinely can't believe this is a thing. But you know what? Sometimes, in order to combat stupid, you must take form yourself. So yeah, let's go through Ronaldo's Euro 2016. So first game was Iceland, his worst performance of the tournament. And considering he'd finished the previous season with an injury he suffered against Villarreal, that's understandable. Second game was against Austria. And this is what people are forgetting. Ronaldo was literally the only threat for his side. And remember, Portugal were a counter-attacking team who were forced to play on the front foot against the likes of Austria. And as a result, they were never going to be comfortable. Reason why their only actual wins came against sides that were better than them on the ball. Austria weren't one of them. Yet, he appeared anywhere and everywhere, trying to make the most of whatever available. And yes, missing that penalty could potentially have been costly. But wanna know why it wasn't? Cause he himself repaid that cost penny by penny. Speaking of which, this brings us to the third group game versus Hungary. And quite simple, the best individual performance of the tournament, bar none. Wanna see what a carry job in football looks like? Go and watch that game. Next up, second round versus Croatia. And my apologies to Miss Julie Andrews, but I'm gonna start from the very end. So let me get this straight. Messi will get a boost in his ratings for this pass since it counts as an assist, but Ronaldo will get no such recognition for Quaresma's goal, despite not only having had the shot which led to the goal, but also winning the ball and starting that counter-attack to begin with. You see the problem with rating apps? Because again, if you wish to judge an attacking player's performance in a defensive team, you don't look at passing stats, you look at moments. Because that's all they get on the ball, moments. And guess who had the biggest hand in the game-winning moment? It was him. It's always him. But staying on passing stats for a bit, now we have the Poland game, and despite his team still having less possession, not only did he complete the most passes out of any forward on either team, but also the most key passes out of any player on either team, and that too against a very informed duo of Arkadiusz Milik and Robert Lewandowski. Next please. And next is Wales in the semis. Again, man of the match performance, not much else to say. Which then brings us to the final. And yes, he went off hurt. Though he did spend the subsequent 2 hours hopping around the touchline like a drunk man trying to teach you how to cross the road from the other side. But you know what? If you are a Messi stan watching this who throws around this stupid overrated tournament shit, pay close attention to this next bit. I genuinely think Ronaldo did as much, if not more, in 20 minutes against France than Messi did in 90 against Brazil in the 2021 Copa America final. Honest to God. And while you obviously don't have to agree with that take, if you wish to throw around terms like overrated and carried, just try and make sure to do so objectively. Cause personally, I don't think either individual was carried. And I'm guessing this is another hot take, though it really shouldn't be, but Leo's overall performances in that 2021 Copa America tournament quite easily triumphs those he put up in the World Cup. Let me know if you agree. But yeah, since this video was about Ronaldo, I'll end with this. If you wanna love, do so with conviction. If you wanna avoid, do so with freedom. If you wanna hate, stay away. But if you wanna critique, please at least try to do so with fairness. And that is that. Are there any myths you'd already debunked prior to watching this? Have I in fact missed any out? Do let me know in the comments below. And of course, please like, share and subscribe. Till next time people, you keep rolling.